Good morning, everyone. If you're looking for an easy way to transform your Facebook Live videos into audio for your very own podcast, stay tuned because today we're going to talk about just that. I'm Young Pratt, host of the In a Weekend podcast, where we help content creators simplify the content creation process. And of course, I am joined by the founder of Repurpose himself, Hanny Mora. Hello, Hanny.
Hello, Young. Good morning. Good afternoon. How's everyone doing today? Hope everyone's doing well. How are you, Young?
I am great. It's the last day of school here, so it's kind of an exciting day as we embark upon the summer adventures that lie ahead for us.
Yes, good times, good times. Good fun times with the kids.
Awesome. Absolutely. And I think you have some extra little bodies at your house this morning, right?
I do. I have a few extra bodies playing upstairs right now. So if an emergency happens, I may have to leave this live broadcast. No, they're good. They're good. They're having a good time upstairs with their friends. And yeah, it's going to be all good.
I love it. I love it. So one of my favorite features of Repurpose is this idea of taking content that you're already creating and turning it into something else. And today we're specifically going to dive into how you can create your own podcast by using your Facebook Live videos and how we can actually add any of the intro music and the outro music automatically inside of Repurpose.
Exactly.
And can we start at the beginning and talk about why somebody might want to turn their Facebook Lives into a podcast? Why would they want to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I know podcasting is an amazing platform. It's a growing platform. It's been around for a long time, but now it seems like in the past 2-3 years, people are it's becoming normal to say podcast. I see it on TV shows. Everybody talks about podcasts now, right? And it's becoming more mainstream. And it's a great way to consume content when you're on the go. So if your audience is always on the go, they're driving, they're walking their dogs, they're at the gym, it's just a great chance to consume content without like having to sit in front of a computer, right? So all you need is your phone and a pair of headphones, or you just sync it to your car, whatever. You just listen on the go. And that's the beauty and the advantage of podcasts. So why would you want to take your Facebook Lives or any Facebook video, I guess? Why would you want to convert that to a podcast? It's just, why would you want to create the content again? You've already spent the time making the live video or making a video. It doesn't have to be live. If you're more comfortable pre-recorded, you can pre-record, upload to Facebook, and use that, repurpose that, that's the magic word, reuse that content again in audio format. And so in the past, you would have to go and download the audio, add an intro to it, upload to your podcast host. And so we got a lot of feedback early on with Repurpose saying why, or not why can we automate this? And that's what we've built. We've been around for about almost a year now. This option's been around for a while, but the idea is it's automated. So you can go back to any Facebook Live you've ever done or any video you've ever uploaded. You can turn that into an audio podcast very, very easily with a few clicks or even automatically, which we're going to demo a little bit later on.
It's such a great feature. And when I introduce it to my students, when we're talking about the podcast creation process, they're amazed. They had no idea either that this was even an option. So the fact now that I kind of teach them to be a little bit lazy in the fact that if you're going to create something, you have to use it again and again in many different ways and recycle it, post it now, post it in a couple months, post it a year from now. I mean, it's always there. It can kind of become evergreen content. And for anyone that runs a business, I mean, even if you did a series of 10 or 12 videos all about the most frequently asked questions in your business, and you can just share those on social media on a cycle, or when people contact you via an email and ask a question, send them a video, send them your podcast episode so they can really get to know you, a much deeper level than some sort of cryptic message, go here and do this and do this. It actually feels really personal that you could point them in the right direction. So if you do nothing else, at least go grab those FAQs and use them on a podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's content, right? It's content you've already created. It's content you've created with a purpose. So you have a reason why you created it. Your audience wants it. It's the topics related to who your audience wants. So yeah, there's absolutely no reason not to do it. And before, probably the biggest objection is time. Like, I don't have
Yeah.
time to go download it, download the video, convert it to an audio, that kind of stuff. So the idea is, if you automate it, there's kind of two things. If you automate it, it's awesome. But also, from a content creator perspective, you want to almost, you don't want to use every single Facebook Live. You want to almost plan ahead, knowing that this episode is going to be converted to an audio, and just be a little conscious about that. Basically, don't do a lot of screen sharing, for example. Don't do a lot of referencing things like, hey, look at this phone that I have. Just kind of be a little more aware. If you do it, not a big deal, because people understand. They can still get the message, but be more aware when you create your content, knowing that it will be in audio format.
Absolutely. And I know I've done that in the past too, going in knowing that I was going to do something a little more technical to walk somebody through a process. But at the end of the podcast, or in the body of the podcast, I will say, hey, and if you want the video tutorial that goes along with this audio, here's where you can grab that. So it's still a great way. I think you can, like you said, if you're intentional about how you plan it and how you talk about something, particularly a little more technical, more screen shared videos, you can still share that, but just be conscientious that you make sure that you're also providing that extra value for anyone listening, so they can actually now have the audio and the video. And again, having those pieces for them to really get to know your style and understand what you stand for, those are really great pieces to connect with your audience.
Absolutely. And you'd be surprised like how many people would prefer to consume content on the go. I mean, you would think video, it is hot. Video is an amazing platform. Obviously, people like platforms like Facebook and YouTube, obviously they're video based, but audio, complement that video with an audio version that people can take on the go. It's just double impact.
I love that. And for me, I know you probably do the same thing. I love taking podcasts with me on walks. I can go take my dog for a walk. I can consume some content, get inspired, get ideas for something else I've been thinking about. There's so many applications, but the portability of that podcast is huge. And now that we can actually add even more content in the form of the intro and an outro and make it sound like more of a traditional podcast using that Facebook Live. Hanny, can we dive into how we make that happen?
Absolutely. That's what we're going to do. I hope the main part of this video is we're going to, of this training is we're going to show that. I just wanted to do a shout out to Tawana. She's in the house. Hello. Good to see you.
Morning, Tawana.
She's saying hi to you, Young, as well. So I'm assuming you guys know each other. I know she's big on repurposing as well. So it's awesome to have you here. So I'm ready to jump right into just the fun stuff. Like, how do we do this?
Let's do it. I love diving in and being really tactical and making sure that everyone watching really has a game plan. They could actually do this today.
Exactly. This is a feature that's available now. You can, if you head over to Repurpose, if those who don't have or don't know about the software, it's called Repurposed.io. You can try it as a free trial. You can go sign up and try it for free. So the whole idea is this, it goes a lot, you can do a ton of things with the software, converting audios to videos, videos to audios, etc. But this training, we're going to talk specifically about Facebook content, primarily a Facebook Live, converting from video into an audio. And not only that, having it go directly to your podcast host. We do support a few podcast hosts, which means that it's really live on your subscriber's phone. So it's live. You don't have to even click anything or interfere with it. It's just live on your podcast, and anybody can consume it without you having to click. So that's super awesome. All right. So why don't we just dive right in? I'm just going to turn this banner off and get right into the screen share. Share my entire screen. Let's do it. It's going to get all wonky for a quick second. Okay. Are we good? Can my screen looks good?
I can see it on my end.
Okay. Oops. I'm going to do this full screen just to give more people more real estate. And all right. So this is the Repurposed.io platform. It's not a software you download. It's a web-based tool. You create an account. You can go ahead and try it for free at Repurposed.io if you don't have an account yet. And the first thing you want to do is go to the connections page and add your connections. So I'm not going to go too much into this because I'm assuming a lot of people here are already using this software. But we have different types of connections. So the first one you want to add is your Facebook. So I've already added it here, but if you were to add it, you would go under this drop down, choose Facebook, click add connection. It'll prompt you a few clicks. You say yes, 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 and boom, you're connected. So that's a one-time thing. The next thing I want to add is my Libsyn account. So I'm going to just pause here for a second and explain something. For podcasting, for those who are not familiar with podcasting, who are more focused on the video part, podcasting, I highly recommend you have a podcast host. And basically, a podcast host, their job is you upload the files to them, and they make sure your files are there. They stream fast. You don't want to be uploading files to your own website. It's just not a good idea. So a podcast host is like, think of it as like a YouTube. You upload videos to YouTube. There's a ton of them out there. A lot of them are great. Many of them are great, actually. So I'm not going to recommend one over the other, but just make sure you do use a podcast host. For my demo, I'm using a host called Libsyn, and we did integrate Libsyn directly into our software. And what that means is we can upload directly to Libsyn. If you don't have Libsyn and you have SoundCloud, you can connect SoundCloud. If you don't have SoundCloud or Libsyn, no big deal. You can send these audio files to your Dropbox or your Google Drive. So, we do integrate with a couple of hosts. We're going to add more podcast hosts and platforms over over this year and next year. But if you don't see your podcast host here, it's all good. You can pick Dropbox, Google Drive, and the files will just show up there ready to go. Okay, so for this demo, I'm just going to hook up my Libsyn account. So when you add a Libsyn connection, you say add connection, give it a name, Annie's Libsyn. By the way, if you want to try Libsyn for free, you can use a code Repurpose, and you get this month and next month free to kind of explore if you don't already have a podcast host. Okay, so I'll just say Annie's Libsyn, say connect. It's going to ask me to log in and log right in. It's going to say, allow access to my Libsyn account, and say yes, and success. Done. So these connections page, the connections that we added, like my Facebook, Libsyn, YouTube, etc., that kind of stuff, you only do it one time. So once you connect it, you don't really need to come back here again. Now, the magic happens in what we call the workflows. So workflows are just the rules that you do. You say, okay, when I do this, I want you to do that and send it here. That's as simple as a workflow. So I'm going to create this workflow that says I can call it whatever I want. I'm going to say Facebook Live to podcast, and I'm going to put Libsyn here. So my test podcast is hosted on Libsyn. And so I'm going to send my Facebook Lives to audio. I'm going to say audio to my podcast. The reason why I'm doing this is these names don't mean anything to anybody else except for you. So the more detail you put in here, the easier it is later on when you come in and you have a bunch of workflows in your system and you forget what each one's doing, which happens to me all the time. So I try to be as clear and as detailed as I can in the name so that I don't get confused. Okay, step number two is telling me what is my input. So what am I starting with? The content I'm starting with is my Facebook Live. And it's going to ask me, you want to go from your personal profile, group, or page. For this demo, I'm just going to grab one from my personal profile. But if you did select page, it will give you all your pages. So it's all good. If you select group, you can pick content from a group. All the groups that you're administrator for, you can choose. And I'm just going to go ahead and just grab it from my personal profile for this demo. Say next. Now, the next step is it gives you a couple options. If you want to upload the video, or you want to convert that video to audio. So that's what we're going to do. We don't want to upload the video to Libsyn, because I'm not doing a video podcast. I'm taking Facebook Live, turning it into an audio podcast. So I'm going to choose convert video to audio. And the last step is, what is my output connection? Basically, where am I sending this file to? So I can send it to my Dropbox if I don't have a podcast host that's integrated with Repurpose, or Google Drive if I wanted to. But since I have a Libsyn account and we integrate with Libsyn right now, I'm going to send it right to Libsyn. So basically, it'll be live on my podcast. And hit create workflow. Okay, so we have my workflow here. And before I go into any settings, I'm just going to show you view videos, which just shows me all my Facebook Lives that I've done on my profile. I've been testing a lot, as you can see here. So I'm going to just go into the workflows. I'm going to go back to workflows. What you're looking at, by the way, is a test site. So it might have some things might look a little different as we're rolling out new features. So if you don't see an option there, it's going to be coming out very, very soon. So I'm going to go to the settings. So the couple of things I want to emphasize here is, one is we have the ability to upload an intro and an outro, or both. And the whole idea is this: like, if you have a Facebook Live and it's doing its thing, like you're doing a Facebook Live, and then you convert it to an audio, it may feel abrupt when it starts. Like, a lot of podcasts have a generic intro, like 30 seconds, a minute, whatever it is, that kind of says, welcome to the whatever show, etc. So like, it gives it more of a feel when you're listening to podcasts, and you have that repetition in there. Sometimes people, obviously the branding is there. You mentioned your podcast, welcome to the Handy Mora show. Learn more at handymora.com, whatever it is, you want to do in your intro. So I think it's important to have an intro. So what we did was we allow you to take a audio file. So you can take your intro, record an intro, have someone record it for you, give you an MP3 file, and you can add it right here in the settings. And what we do is, for every video that we publish to Repurpose, we're going to add that intro right in the beginning, so that it gives it more of a feel of a true podcast. So I'll play exactly what it sounds like once we publish this. So I'm going to go ahead and just browse and pick just my little test intro here. So it could be MP3, it could be M4A, it could be WAV file. So because our output, just keep this in mind, people get tripped up over this. If you are, the intro file has to match your final product. So in our case, the final product's an audio. So make sure that you upload a audio intro file. If you're doing video stuff, then you want to have a video. You want to add an intro, you can add a video, an intro in video format. But since our final product is an audio, you make sure you pick an MP3, WAV, etc., an audio format. You can even add an outro. I'm not going to do that right now, but you can add an outro if you wanted to. And there's a bunch of settings here. I don't want to get into it too much, but the thing is, we integrate with Libsyn. So there's a couple options that we can go directly with that. I can tell it, you know what, I want this episode to be a draft, which means when we upload the audio, we create an episode on your podcast. It's not live yet. It gives you an opportunity to log into your Libsyn account, fix the title, description, whatever you want to do before you publish it. Or you can go on your Libsyn and schedule it for a certain date. So you can do that. If you don't care, or you're like, you know what, I want to be hands-free. I just want it to go live. I want Repurpose to send it to my Libsyn. I want it to be live to the world to listen to on iTunes, etc. Then you can just change this to published, and it'll be live. It'll be a live episode. Another thing is, if you want to, you can use the Facebook image, the one that you upload as part of your Facebook Live, as the artwork for your podcast. But honestly, in most cases, most people just use a default option, which just means use your generic artwork that's currently on your podcast host, and use that for this episode. So I'm going to leave that default option there. And you can enter a category name, because with Libsyn, you can create categories or choose your own category. So I'm not going to go too much into that. You can set ratings. These are specific to your podcast host. So as we integrate more, you'll have more and more settings. But the thing I wanted to show you is this publish versus draft. So for me, I'm like, you know what, I just want it live. Go live. I don't want to log into Libsyn and publish it or schedule it. So I'm going to leave it as published and hit save. And go back to my view videos here. And let's just going to pick the first one and hit publish. So when I hit publish, I have a chance to, this is all the content that's on my Facebook Live, the title, description, etc. So I can change this. I can say episode 0, whatever I want. I can type in my full show notes, what's called the show notes here. So this is the full description of what this episode is about. I can type it all right here, blah, blah, blah. And when I hit publish, all this information, the audio file, everything is going to go and be live on my Libsyn account, which means it's live on iTunes and other podcast platforms out there. So this is your chance to just clean things up if you want to, and then you hit publish. And it's as simple as that. So it's gonna, in a few seconds, it's gonna refresh the page. It should be into processing in a few seconds. Okay, processing. So it's gonna take, I don't know, maybe a minute or so. So while it's doing that, I want to show one thing. If you, like, I always suggest you stay in this manual, what we call manual mode, which is a default mode. Go in, publish your episode. Make sure it looks good, it sounds good, the intro, everything works out. Once you're happy with it, all you need to do is go in here and turn auto publish. And when you do that, basically it does two things. It will take all your Facebook Lives and publish them. And if you don't want that, there's a way to filter that out. You can play around with the settings and tell it not to go, don't take episodes from this year, earlier, stuff like, or certain hashtags. So there's some settings in there. I don't want to cover too much into that. But the idea is when you go to auto publish, you will publish everything here. And secondly, once you're in auto, you don't have to ever go into it again. Like, you don't have to go into Repurpose again. You go live on Facebook and the episode will just show up based on your settings, will show up on your Libsyn account and live on your podcast feed. That's the way I set it up. So the idea is that you don't have to worry about it. You set it up and it's there. It happens. It just, these rules are always kick in. Once you're in auto, the rules kick in and they do their magic for you without even you logging in to the Repurpose software.
So good. So good. I have a question for you, Hanny.
Mm-hmm.
When you're doing the show notes, because last month we talked about creating those little video snippets, those little audiograms.
Yeah.
If you were to put in your transcription into the show notes with the timestamps, would that then also make the snippets happen as well? Or do we need to make sure we also set up the separate workflow?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the way it's set up, Repurpose is designed, at least for now, is that it's a one-to-one connection, meaning like you have one input and one action. So to answer your question, you would need a second workflow. Like, this workflow does one thing. Its job here is to take a Facebook Live and convert that to an audio, add the intro, outro, and send it to, in my case, Libsyn. That's all it's going to do.
Got it.
But you can make a second workflow that says, read my podcast feed and then take those episodes and make snippets out of them. And so that would be the job of the second workflow. So every workflow is designed to do one thing. And there's no direct way of chaining them together. But because we're publishing to my podcast feed, I can add a new workflow that says, take my podcast feed and then make snippets out of them. So once the first one is done, it publishes a new episode. So they're almost chained together because of the fact that one is updating my podcast feed and the second one is reading my podcast feed and making the snippets.
Got it. Just want to make sure we're very clear, because we talked about doing something with our podcast feed last month. I want to make sure everyone understands that there's the two separate workflows, but they pretty much work in sync with one another. As soon as it reads your podcast feed, then the snippets can then be created for you as well.
Exactly. So it's almost like you're connecting these two workflows together, essentially, by saying, this workflow's job is to publish to your podcast feed. This workflow's job is says, you know what? I see a new episode. I'm going to make the snippets and publish them. So yeah, they are independent, but you can link them together by just the way you design your workflows.
Perfect. And just another way to really take your content and create it and chop it up and share it differently on multiple platforms as well.
Exactly. I'm just going to pop in and see if anybody's got any questions while we're throughout here. Okay, so far no questions. Good. So this is going to go back to view videos for a second. Okay, it's done. So let me just test something out here. So this episode is live on my Libsyn account. So if I go into my Libsyn, this is my podcast host. I can just see, how can I see this? It should show over here. I'm not in here very often. Content. Oh yeah, episode 0, repurposing your content. Friday, July 7th. That's June 7th. That's today. Yeah. Okay. So the episode is here. It's live. Now, this is kind of cool. I'm going to turn off my screen sharing. How do I do that? I'm sorry. It's Friday. My brain's always slow on Friday. Actually, no, my brain is fast. My fingers are slow, I should say. There we go. Okay. So we're back here. I like this view better. Okay. So this is my phone. This is my Apple Podcasts. I got to get the naming right. App. I'm subscribed to my own show just because I'm testing. It's hard to see with this lighting.
Yeah, I can see it.
So I'm going to just open up my show here, and hopefully if I, don't want to play that. I'm going to refresh here. And in a few minutes, it takes a few minutes for it to kick into your feed. Actually, I apologize. It does take some time for iTunes to register the new episode. So I was hoping it would show up on here directly. It does not yet, but it might in a few minutes. So I'll check again before we're done this episode. But the idea is, in a few minutes, it'll just be live on everyone's phone. Whoever subscribed to your show, I didn't have to do anything but just click a button and hit publish. And then once I'm happy with that, I can go as far as turning on the auto publish and never having to log into Repurpose again, go live, and bada boom, bada bing. I've got a podcast episode that's live to my audience and live on, all these podcasting platforms.
And that's really great, especially this time of year when we're hitting summer and lots of us have kiddos at home and we want to spend more time with kiddos versus having to do all these, techie behind the scenes things. If we can automate it through the summer or automate it when we know we're going to go on vacation, at least for that duration, that's a huge time saver, because once you set it up, it's good to go, and it will always do that until you tell it to do something different. So it's so good.
Yeah, actually, there it is. The episode is here. I don't know if you can see it there. Episode 0, repurposing your content. Yeah, there it is. So it's live on my phone. I can listen to the episode. I didn't have to do anything. I just had to hit publish from Repurpose, and boom, whoever subscribed to my show will get it. So that's the power of it. Like you said, it's not about, everything can be done manually. And I always tell people that, hey, I can do this myself. I can download it, convert it. Definitely. But it's just knowing that you don't have to worry about it, knowing that you just focus on creating the content. And I just want to tell people, if you're not comfortable going live, that's totally cool. I totally understand. I prefer going live compared to making a video, because when I become more of a perfectionist when I start recording videos, and it never gets done. Cut, edit, redo, edit. I love making videos, but it never gets done. So long story short, whether it's a Facebook Live, whether it's a pre-recorded video that you upload to your Facebook page or group, you can do the same exact thing. So if you're more comfortable recording, editing a video, then uploading it to Facebook, awesome. Yeah. And this it's just so, I always tell people, now go to Facebook first. And then people say, I don't always use Facebook. It doesn't matter. Go to Facebook first. There's a lot of reasons. Especially with Repurpose, it lets you repurpose a lot easier. If your initial content is on Facebook, we can do a ton of really, really cool stuff, like sending it to YouTube, this new video snippets feature, which I'm going to show a little bit later on. Once you have it on Facebook, and if that's your main content, or if that's not your main content, make that your main content, because starting with a video, you get the love from Facebook, you get the attention from Facebook, and then Repurpose can do a lot of awesome stuff, converting it to audios, making video snippets, audio snippets. The list goes on, and it's done really, really easily through by starting it through Facebook, whether it's a group, a page. Either way is fine, whatever you're comfortable with.
Right. And something that I've been testing too, just because there are some days I don't necessarily want to go live on my public page because I want to stagger my content a little bit, but I can go into a private group where it's just me. I can go record my episodes live and I run it through Repurpose and then do this whole process. But then I can really control when I want it to go live versus having to go live that day, because I do like to batch content. So if you are also wanting to batch, if you stream live into your private group, repurpose it, and then schedule those podcasts to go out when you want them to go out, it's been a really, really great time saver for me. So for those of you out there, if you want no one to be there live with you, this is a great way where you can still have that feature of going live, because like Hanny said, when I sit down to create a video for my website or something, it probably takes me 10 times as long, because I'll stop one sentence in and do it 25 times.
Yeah.
It will take me, the better part of a day just to get one video done, because I keep stopping. Versus if you're live, I mean, there's that a little bit of a fire there to kind of get you going, even though no one's there.
Yeah.
The energy behind it is very different than when you sit and record a video just by yourself, and there's nothing really to hold your feet to the fire.
Yeah, and I've done this. Like, I've sat down in my room and like, okay, I'm gonna record it. I recorded it, and I edit, and I like take 1, take 2, take 3, and I'm like, I know it doesn't matter. I know I screwed up. It doesn't matter. But when you're live, you're just live, and you just do it. You make a mistake, you just kind of follow through with it, and that's it. The content's what's important, right? Obviously, with more practice, you'll get better at just being more comfortable being live. But I love your idea with the private group. I never even thought about that.
Yeah, I've been testing that a lot, going live, just because sometimes I don't want to do my episode live because I'm not ready for a couple weeks to air that episode on my podcast. So I don't want to have it go out before it hits the podcast, just because I know that I want my subscribers to know that if they're subscribed, they're going to get it first. I don't want to not adhere to what I've told them and do it live on my page first. So I've been testing that. And now with Facebook letting you schedule the premieres and schedule the actual videos, and they can actually run as watch parties, so they appear live. That's a cool feature too, because then the video can run live and you yourself can be in the chatting with people who are there. So you're not having to divert your attention, because I know it's distracting when someone's there and you want to respond, but you don't want to get totally off track and make your episode an hour long because you're answering tons of questions or engaging a whole bunch on the live video.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. I love that feature too. And I want to mention something for those who are using this Premiere feature. Just one thing to note: within Repurpose, it sees it as a live video. So even though it's a pre-recorded, the idea of Premiere is you pre-record it, you upload it, then you schedule a premiere, which means it streams that recorded video live. So if you're using that, I love that feature. Just keep in mind with Repurpose, when you make your workflow, make sure you choose live video, because it shows up to us, like to the software, as a live video. So if you don't see a video in your workflow, you can make a new workflow and just choose live, and you should see that video. That's
so good. So many ways to make your software do exactly what you want. And I definitely always appreciate that as a content creator, because it's hard enough to create that initial piece of content. So now that we can actually have a way to automate a lot of this, again, especially going into summer when we all want to kind of pull back a little bit and spend more time with our kiddos.
Yes.
Hanny, I know that we have a new feature coming up very soon. Do you want to talk about that?
Yes, absolutely. I gave a little hint last time we did this. I was hoping it'd be out by now. I'm like pushing the team to get it out. But I'm, again, back to my perfectionism. I need it to work in every single combination. So we're so close. I'm hoping, definitely before the end of the month, but hopefully in a couple weeks. We're talking weeks now from now. So excited. And I kind of hinted at it earlier. So the idea is, last month we talked about audio snippets. So you have an audio podcast, you make little snippets that you tease on social media, which is we take the audio, we make the video out of it. Now, we got a lot of feedback saying, can we make video snippets? So meaning I have a Facebook Live, I have a Facebook video, I want to tease out 10, 20, 30 seconds, 10 minutes. Hey, maybe I want to just make a whole 10-minute chunk and upload on Instagram or LinkedIn, whatever you want. I want to make a snippet of whatever duration I want out of a video. So video to video. So I said, okay, we can do that. And then we took it one step further. We said, you know what? I noticed that Facebook allows you to, Facebook automatically transcribes your videos right now when you upload a video to your page. And then if you go in and you clean up those transcriptions, There's some subtle, small mistakes that it does. It's not perfect. If you clean that up, and then you can turn on an option that says, hey, when you make this video snippet or even take the full video, I want you to do two things. I want you to take the transcriptions and burn them into the video. So I don't know if you've seen these like Gary Vee style videos where the captions are on the bottom. That's one. And two, you can say, you know what? I know I'm going to IGTV, or I know I'm going to LinkedIn. Can you make it vertical? Or can you make it square with the captions below it? And even better, we can put a headline across the top as well. So, and it's all, I'm going to show you right now. I'm going to geek out on this.
It definitely sounds like this upgrade or this addition is worth the wait, because there's so many great things, and we have so much control over how we do it. Because if you took the snippets and, on one version there are transcriptions and on one version there aren't, I mean, again, that's two more things you can automatically share. So yeah. Let's look at this.
Let's just jump right into it. Yeah, I'm going to share my screen and just go back to here again, and let's go to full screen. Okay, so back to Repurpose. So I'm going to make a workflow now that takes, whoops, sorry about that. What happened there? Can you still see my screen?
I can see, yeah.
Okay, sweet. Okay, so I'm going to take a workflow that says, take my Facebook videos. I'm not going to do a live video because they're very long. Actually, you know what? Never mind. Let's do a Facebook Live. This time I'm going to send it to my Dropbox in vertical format. Again, I'm just calling this full long name so I know what it is later on. This name could be anything you want. So my goal here is to take a Facebook Live, the same one that I converted to audio. Actually, no, I apologize. Actually, no, we're good, sorry. Okay, Facebook Live, convert it to a vertical, add the captions, and giddy up. Let's make this happen. So I'm going to show you that. So it's going to ask me where am I starting with? I'm starting with a live. Actually, sorry, it's not a live video. I apologize. I don't have captions on my live videos yet. So Facebook videos, I'm going to grab one from my Facebook page, Repurpose. Okay, so I'm going to take a video from my Facebook page. In this case, it's pre-uploaded. And now you'll see an option that says full video or snippets. So you can do snippets now, and you can choose kind of how long you want. So I'm going to say, let's just do snippets. Why not? But I can choose full episode. If my episodes are short, I call them episodes. My videos are short, which in my case, they are like 2-3 minutes. You might as well just take the whole video. But if you want to do a snippet, so that you can take a clip from your Facebook Live, let's say it's an hour long and you want to take a 10-minute chunk, share that onto Instagram TV, you can do that. So let's demo that. So I'm going to say upload video snippets, and I want you to send that to my Dropbox. So the reason why I'm picking Dropbox is because we can't upload directly to Instagram. And so I'm going to upload to my Dropbox, and then from there I can easily upload it to Instagram or anywhere I want, to LinkedIn, to wherever I want. So say go ahead and create, which is here. Ignore the name. It's not Facebook Live. It's a regular video. It's all good. So here's where the fun stuff is. I can still do intro, outro. I can add a video intro and outro if I wanted to, but that's not the cool one. The coolest one is this. I'm going to say, now we have a new option called output video size. So I can say original size, so I can just take it as is. And when we do that, we don't convert it. We don't add captions. We just take it as it is and send it to my Dropbox. So you can still do that. But in my case, I want to convert it to a vertical video, and I want to turn on the captions because I know this video already has captions. So I've already went to Facebook, to my Facebook page. I turned on the automatic transcription. I cleaned up my transcripts, and I want Repurpose to grab those transcripts and burn them into the video. So I turn that on. You can choose a headline color, the caption text color, the background image, background color, and the progress bar. So we've even added a progress bar. So it shows you how much of this video is, if someone's watching, they get a feel for how long the video is because the progress bar is burnt into the video. This all sounds a little confusing, but once you see it, the final product it's pretty sweet. So I'm going to leave everything as default. I'm going to leave white background with black text. That's essentially what we're doing here. I'm going to hit save. and go to my view videos. So here are all my videos on my Facebook page. So this might look familiar from the audio podcast area. So I'm going to click on the scissors and just hit play here. So this is the video that I want to repurpose. So I can go in and just drag this bar. Let's say I want to start here, and I'm going to keep it short because it's I wanted to make the video quickly and show you the final product. So this is going to be about a 20-second, 30-second. I can't do the math here. This is 30 seconds right here. Actually, you can see it. Actually, you can see it right here. Say, this is awesome. Okay, so we made a snippet called "This is awesome," and I'm just going to hit publish. So again, I can change a couple of things here. I can choose if I don't want the captions, I can use the cap. We're still working on making this a little more user friendly, but the idea is this: you can upload your own captions if you have another if you have a transcription service or a person who does it for you. You can upload them. I highly recommend doing it on Facebook. It's the easiest. You use on Facebook, and or you can say no captions. Let's say you don't have any captions, and you can add a subheadline here. So this subheadline will come in the bottom of the video instead of the captions. So even if you're not doing captions, you can still take advantage of this feature and put your own subheadline below. But in my case, I'm just going to erase this and just say use my caption from Facebook and hit publish. And it should be fairly quickly. So in about a couple seconds, we should be kicking into processing mode. Yep. Okay. We'll give it a few minutes, not even, I'll give it a minute or so. If it's not done, I'll see if I can dig up a sample from my Dropbox and show you what it looks like, the final product. But I just wanted to show you how easy this was. And while it's doing that, I'm going to go back to the settings and just mention one thing. You can do a square option as well. So you don't have to do vertical. And my recommendation is we're going to add this in the documentation, and we'll do more training on this once it's released. But the idea is vertical is ideal for IGTV. I mean, mind you, now they do have the option. They allow. I heard recently they allowed horizontal videos to be uploaded. But I still think sticking with their preferred is probably better for you. So doing a vertical option is ideal for IGTV. Square is ideal for LinkedIn. And what else you can do is you can take your Facebook Live video. Let's say it's a whole episode. You make a small snippet. Make it square and then post it onto Facebook again as little teasers of your snippets of content, maybe 10-minute chunks here and there. So right now we'll give you all the flexibility you need. How long you want the episode, whether it's a full episode or a snippet. You want a vertical, square, or just the original format. So it's awesome. Like once you see it, like to do this before, it's such a manual process.
Absolutely. So another question for you as far as the snippet. When you choose the snippet, do you get to choose like the cover image, like the image that people will see before the video starts, before they push play?
Good point. Well, this is well, that's going to depend on your platform.
Okay.
When it's like right now, I'm sending it to Dropbox, so it's just going to be an MP4 file that I have to manually upload to Instagram or to whatever platform.
Yeah, so, I'm just curious, just asking the question about, when we go put it there, like on YouTube, you can change the cover art after you upload a video and you can actually put a thumbnail there. I wasn't sure if that was part of this or it just kind of randomly grabs like the first frame of that video we're going to upload.
Yeah, it all depends on the platform. Like YouTube, because we're not directly uploading.
Yeah.
To Instagram, for example. But if you were to make this upload to YouTube, make a workflow that says take my Facebook Live, make it square, add the captions, send it to YouTube, and then we have the option to add a thumbnail.
Perfect.
In that. Okay. Yeah. So if we publish that platform, we usually, if they allow us, we usually give you the option to set your thumbnail.
Perfect. I just want to point out for anyone who's joined us later in this video that this feature is not yet available inside your Repurpose account. This is Hanny's staging, where he's his account where he's building things. So you won't see this yet.
but soon, very soon,
very soon.
very soon. So it's already done. It's because it's a short video. So let's, I'm going to hit the preview button and let's see what it looks like. Let's hope it worked. Oh yeah, it did work. Awesome. Okay. So I'm going to hit play. So you're going to see a couple of things. You're going to see, I'm going to mute the audio. So it's hard to see on the Dropbox. It's a lot clearer because I'm playing off Dropbox. But the idea is the title comes on top, the video's here, the progress bar is going along. We set the color to be red, and then your captions are burned into the video itself. So this vertical video was created from a snippet from, it's a 30-second snippet from an existing Facebook video. It all happened automatically, and you can do as many snippets as you want per episode. So you can take a single Facebook Live and make 20 snippets out of it. And that's 20 pieces of content that you can share out on different platforms. And the last thing I want to mention is that, like I said, you don't have to have the content. You don't have to have the captions if you're not, you don't want to spend the time to do the captions. Not a problem. This captions can be replaced with a subtitle or a subheadline.
Yeah, or a call to action would be.
Or a call to action. Yeah, learn more at Repurpose.io or whatever it is. You can have that on every video. And the coolest thing, which I don't know, I'm a geek, so I always say the coolest thing, is that I spent a lot of time figuring out the optimal dimension of this text here and the caption. I know you guys might not care, but I think this is cool. Because there's a feature, and when you upload to Instagram, like this is designed for people who would do IGTV. So when you upload to IGTV, they have an option that says share this on my Instagram feed automatically. So when you do that, Instagram feeds are square, IGTV is vertical. So we designed it so that when it goes on your IGTV feed, none of the text is cut off. So it's designed optimal size so that this text, this is awesome, is not cut off. Like it'll be a square that goes like this and here. So someone can watch directly on your feed without like losing half, the title or half the captions, etc. So it's, I watched a lot of these videos on IGTV following like Gary Vee and Frank Kern. All these guys are doing this kind of video. And I noticed that it was very valuable for me as a consumer to be able to watch it on my IG feed. Because I don't go on IGTV. Like I don't go on there. I'm always scrolling my regular Instagram feed. And then if I can watch the good minute or so of the video, and if I like it, I'll click through to watch it on IGTV. So it's optimally designed so that it's not cut off when you're watching it on Instagram as well, which is, I think, really cool.
Yeah. Thank you for that. That's really cool.
Yeah. So that's it. That's the new feature. Video snippets with or without captions, vertical or square. You set it up the way you want it, depending on where you're going. And basically, I would say to kind of keep it simple. Once this rolls out in in a week or two, or hopefully, not later than more than a week or two. The idea is you go to Instagram, do a vertical. Sorry, Instagram TV, go vertical. LinkedIn, go square, and you can just do 2 workflows, and they show up in your Dropbox, and you're ready to go.
Amazing. I'm looking forward to this new feature as well. And for those of you who aren't using the software, definitely go and grab a free trial, test it out, and it will definitely change the way that you do business. It did for me. I actually was able to replace a full-time virtual assistant with Hanny's help and his software. So thank you, Hanny, for taking the time to put all this together, because now with all of the features of your software, it makes my business super easy. And I can help my students to just take that one piece of content, and now they have all these different things they can share, and it makes it look like they are everywhere, but yet they're doing one thing, and they're actually spending less time having to work in their business because they're just creating that one great piece of content every week, and from there we can just multiply this to massive amounts. So thank you.
Yeah. I wanted to share one thing here. I got this. Oh, you saw it too. This is somebody from a Facebook group. I'm going to share my screen in a second. I did not ask for this, or I was shocked when I saw this morning because the timing was just perfect. I'm just going to quickly share a screen and read something from the Facebook group for those who haven't seen it yet. Am I still sharing screen? I'm confused.
No, not yet.
No, I'm not. Okay, there we are. Okay. Can you see it?
Yes, I see it. Mark.
Yeah, so Mark posted this, and I woke up and I saw it, like, wow, this just made my day. It put me in a good mood all day, like seeing people get results. And basically he's saying, just let me share why I love Repurpose.io. Each Friday we do a live show. The audience isn't big. We usually have just a handful of people watching it. And afterwards we upload it as a podcast and then also to YouTube. And he's saying the last 28 days, we've had 1,600 views on YouTube, and the majority are from one of the live shows, and 451 podcast listens.
Amazing.
We've had none of this without Repurpose. So, credit to Mark for like putting out content that people want to hear. But the idea is just that Mark didn't have to worry about setting this up and doing it manually. He just focused on creating the content and then letting Repurpose, sending it out to different platforms. So honestly, obviously I want you to use Repurpose. You'll love it. You can try it for free, but even if you don't want to, or you have someone on your team, it's very valuable to put the content on different platforms, because people are going to discover you on the platforms where they normally hang out. So if people prefer audio, they're going to discover you there. Prefer to watching YouTube, they're going to discover you there. People prefer hanging out on Facebook, they'll watch you there. On Instagram, they'll watch you there. So being everywhere it's not like just this quote, hey, I want to be everywhere. It's a ton of value of being where your audience, being where they normally hang out, not forcing them to come to them to come to a certain platform.
And it may not be where you hang out, but if they're hanging out there, they can still find you. And that's a really valuable thing for anyone's business, to be able to have information where people who want to find about what you're doing in the world, they can find you on the platform they prefer the most.
Yes. And that's exactly it. It's about them. It's about people. Exactly. Like if you don't hang out on Instagram, I don't hang out too much on Instagram, but I still put my content on Instagram. I put it on LinkedIn. I don't hang out too much on LinkedIn, but still put your content on LinkedIn. So it's not about you. It's about where you'll discover new audiences that are, and if it's done automatically, or, you have a team doing it for you, it doesn't matter the process. Putting it out there just gets the attention that your content deserves.
Absolutely. And I would say, get the software too, because if you're at a point where you're looking to hire someone to help you kind of do this process, I would say invest in the software first, maximize that. And you may discover, like I did, that you don't actually need someone to do all these manual things for you. So definitely see what it can do for you before you make the investment. And maybe you won't have to invest in as many hours later on down the road, because there's already a process in place for all these things to happen automatically.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, try it out. It's free to try out at repurpose.io.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I hope you found great value in this. If you have questions, please drop them below. And if you have any ideas or questions about upcoming topics or features you'd like us to unpack for you, let us know, and we're happy to make that happen. I'm Young Pratt, and I've been here with Hanny Mora, and we've been diving into using Repurpose.io. Thanks, everyone.